Does anyone remember when you could grab a burger, fries and a drink for like $5? Now that same meal barely runs under 10. So what the hell happened here? Stick with me and I'll show you how fast food went from cheap and easy to expensive and annoying. Okay, so let's travel back to what I like to call the fast food golden era. Roughly from the 1950s up through the early 2000s. Back then, fast food was basically built on three simple rules. You know, keep the menu tiny, make everything uniform, and price it so low that people would flock in droves. For example, McDonald's didn't have 50 items. They stuck to a handful, just hamburgers, fries, shakes, and maybe a breakfast sandwich once those mornings got busy. By sticking to only a few things, they kept kitchens lean, staff training simple, and orders moving in and out lightning fast. And here's the genius of it. Franchisees, those folks who own and run the local stores, cover the rent, employee pay, utility bills, and the day-to-day stuff. Meanwhile, corporate headquarters focused on the big picture stuff, you know, branding, marketing, campaigns, and squeezing the best deals out of suppliers for meat, potatoes, buns, and soda. That split let each side play to its strengths. Franchisees handled operations on the ground, and corporate managed the supply chains and brand image. When combined rock bottom cost for ingredients with bulk purchasing power and razor thin margins, selling millions of burgers at 50 cents each still added up to serious profits. The result, well, you could pull into the drive-thru, place an order, and be back on the road within 30 seconds. There weren't millions customizations options, just a fast process where you got exactly what you expected every single time. And it worked. Customers loved getting a cheap, predictable meal, and the restaurants turned massive volume into steady, reliable revenue. But jump ahead to today and you can see the blueprint is starting to fall apart. I mean, that low price model depended on a few things staying the same. Wages staying cheap, commodity prices not swinging wildly, and drive-thrus running at warp speed. As soon as wages started climbing, beef and potato costs got unpredictable, or technology slowed things down with digital menus and complex orders, the whole system started to wobble. So while the golden era might feel like it lasted forever, it was actually a very delicate balance, one that only worked as long as every little piece stayed right where it was. Okay, so let's talk about the first big shift that started to crack the fast food formula, and the first thing was labor. Back in the 1970s, a crew member at a drive-thru might have been making just $2 to $3 an hour. That kept staffing costs low enough that restaurants could turn high volume into solid profit. Fast forward to 2025, and in states like California, the minimum wage for a fast food worker is $20 an hour. In New York City, minimums hover around $17 to $18 for most service jobs. Here's a concrete example, right? Say a local place used to pay someone $15 an hour to flip burgers. If that worker flipped 50 burgers an hour, that labor cost would be about 30 cents per burger. But with a $20 wage, the same employee's hourly cost jumps to $20, making the labor cost per 50 burger about 40 cents. That's a 33% increase in labor cost per item. And multiply that by tens of thousands of burgers each month, and the restaurant owner suddenly faces an extra $3,000 to $5,000 or more in payroll every month. Most restaurants handle this in two uncomfortable ways. First, by cutting staff hours or reducing headcount, which leads to slower service and longer drive-thru lines. Customer notice this immediately. Second, by rising menu prices. Nobody likes a $1 increase on a burger, but sometimes that's the only way to stay afloat. And even a 20% bump on fries overnight can leave regulars feeling sticker shock. Until wages stabilize or restaurants find smarter staffing solutions like routine automation or efficient scheduling, those burger prices are only going up. Ingredients and supply chains are another factor. Back in early 2015, wholesale choice beef was selling for about $3.77 per pound on average. By the end of 2022, the same beef cost had jumped to roughly $5 per pound, an almost 33% increase in just 7 years. Similar story with chicken. Wholesale chicken prices rose nearly 25% between 2019 and 2020 as feed costs spiked and processing plants scrambled to keep up with demand. It wasn't just meat. Take lettuce, for example, an ice-cold staple on every burger for decades. In April 2015, iceberg lettuce averaged about $1.14 per pound at retail level. Fast forward to April 2024, and that same iceberg lettuce was running around $175 per pound, a 53% jump over 9 years. That $0.50 increase may seem minor on your individual grocery receipt, but for a chain that uses thousands of pounds of lettuce each week, it means that restaurant is suddenly paying hundreds more every month just to keep those salads and burgers green. And there is the humble bun. While precise nationwide wholesale statistics are hard to pin down, industry insiders estimate that a pack of 8 hamburger buns cost around $0.5 in 2015 and closer to $0.8 by 2024, about a 60% rise. Pair that with bulk flour cost up 20% during the same period, and suddenly your bun cost almost twice what it did a decade ago. All these little costs stack up, so when you order that combo meal and notice it 50 cents to $1 more than last last year, it's not some random price hike. It's the culmination of meat, produce, buns, packaging, and energy all going through the roof. Eventually, restaurants have to pass this cost on to you because margins are already razor thin, and that's why your once $5 burger now often feels like a $7 to $8 burger because every single ingredient behind the scenes got more expensive. Okay, but let's talk about the third piece in this puzzle. It's real estate and overhead. Basically everything you have to pay before you even buy a single patty. Remember back in the 90s when a strip mall spot for a drive-thru might run you $15 to or $20 per square foot? Today, in most suburban areas, you're looking at $30 to $50 per square foot, and in big cities, it can easily climb north of $60. That means a $2,000 square foot building might cost you an extra $30,000 to $70,000 every single year just to keep your sign lit. Imagine paying almost double rent and thinking, okay, how do we make this work? And then there's utilities. After the pandemic, electricity, gas, and water rates went up everywhere. A restaurant that once paid around $1,200 a month for power might be shelling out $1,500 or more now. That's an extra $3,600 a year just to keep the fryer hot. And let's not forget property taxes that creep up a few percent annually. And here's why that matters. Well, fast food margins are already razor thin, around 6 to 9%. If your monthly overhead jumps $7,000, you either swallow that pain, which sinks your profits, close the store, which you really don't want to do, or you raise menu prices. And when you see your favorite burgers go from $2.49 to $3.99, it's not because the restaurant owner is being greedy. It's covering rent, utilities, taxes, and all those sneaky overhead hikes. So next time you pay an extra buck or two, remember it's not just the beef that got expensive. Alongside rent, utilities, tech upgrades, and delivery partnership have quietly become massive expenses for fast food chains. But this is a big problem for them, right? Because they were supposed to be the cheaper option. Then factor in third-party delivery services like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Foodora. This platform takes a hefty commission, anywhere from 15 to 30% per order. So if you place a $12 order, the restaurant could be on the hook for $3 to $4 in delivery fees alone. Now, some restaurants choose to cover a portion, maybe 10 to 15%, because they don't want to scare off customers with sticker shock, but swallowing a full 30% fee could drain their profits fast. So they raise menu prices on the app or tack on small order fees at checkout. That means you might think you're paying the same $12 you'd pay in person, but by the time you add the $3 delivery commission, $1 service fee, and suddenly your lunch is $18. Restaurants call it convenience, but it's really a way to shove those extra costs onto our plates. The worst part, well, as we get used to paying $15 to $18 for what used to be a $10 meal, fast food chain starts baking those inflated delivery adjusted prices back into their regular menus. So even if you stroll in and order at the counter, you're still footing the bill for yesterday's delivery fees. All of this is why the once cheap, always fast food promise of fast food feels like a distant memory. Technology was supposed to streamline operations, not send prices skyrocketing, but here we are paying for the privilege of clicking a few buttons instead of walking up to a grill. All those cost pressures, labor, ingredient, rent, tech stack up very fast. But here's where it really stings. The fast food value menu used to be a crown jewel, a guaranteed low price safety net. Some chains have even moved their cheapest deals behind app paywalls, meaning you have to download a proprietary app, sign up, give them your email, and then jump through digital hoops just to find any real bargains. If you don't want another app on your phone, you miss out on an even modest savings. At the same time, fast casual places like Chipotle, Sweet Green, and Paran keep dangling fresh, higher quality options for only $1 or $2 more than your inflated value meal. So when your once $5 burger is now $8 on the value menu, even with those app-only coupons, why not spend an extra $2 and get a burrito bowl with real vegetables and no mystery meat? Especially if you're hungry for something that won't leave you feeling greasy and regretful 2 hours later. Once a cheap microwavable burger costs you as much as a half-decent salad bowl, you lose the core reason to choose fast food. If you have to pay $8 to $9 anyway, you might as well pick up a healthier option to sit down at a restaurant where someone actually brings you fries. That dilemma is why you probably noticed fewer cars in the drive-thru lane lately and fewer people gathering in the dining room at legacy chains. The value incentive has eroded, and until fast food brands figure out how to rebuild a genuinely low-cost option or improve meal quality significantly, they'll keep losing customers to those fresher, slightly pricier competitors. At the same time, economic pressures mean a lot of families just can't swing those higher prices tags anymore. So instead of grabbing an $8 value meal, they either start cooking at home more or hunt down coupon deals, group discounts, or even those grocery grazing apps that let you pick discounted prepared foods. The old sweet spot, fast, tasty, and cheap is disappearing. Now we are left with two extremes. Either go as cheap as possible, dollar store knockoffs, or upgrade all the way to fast casual for decent ingredients, adding things like avocado toast or fancy plant-based burgers, which only drives cost higher. It's this vicious cycle: price rise, people leave, chains add premium items to lure folks back, which raises expenses again. Before long, that bucket of metric tons of ice cold, cheap fries feels like a relic of the past. So there you have it, fast food's old formula of cheap ingredients, low labor cost, and high volume got blown up by rising wages, supply chain chaos, overhead hikes, and those sneaky delivery fees, all while people started wanting fresher, better options. And if you guys like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.